Hey everyone, this is Western New York Fly Guy. Today we're going to be tying a pattern that I like to call the woolly leech. It's like a cross between a woolly bugger and an egg-sucking leech. This is what it looks like, the final product. We're going to be using UTC 140 in tan. You're going to need some rabbit strip, natural. You're going to need some gold crystal flash. And as materials, you're going to need barred Marabou. You can use standard Marabou too, I just like the way that the barred looks. And then for this particular color, we're going to use Sculpin Olive Woolly Bugger Chenille. This hook is a Dohimoto size 6 in a 1X long shank, and this is a brass bead cone head. So we're going to first start out by Palomaring our thread down, go all the way to the bend of the hook, cut off your extra, and then we're going to start off as usual taking our crystal flash. You're going to fold it in half, cut it, fold it in half again, cut it, and then one more time, fold it in half and cut it. The last one is going to be a little tricky. Last time is always tricky since you don't have a whole lot left to hold on to. But anyways, there you go. And what I like to do is I measure the shank roughly, and that's about how much tail I want for this particular fly. It's just a good rule of thumb. Some people like to have longer tails on their flies, some people like to have shorter tails, but what I like to do with this flash is I like to fold it back over itself and tie it in. It just prevents fish, especially bass, with their teeth the way it is, this stuff can get caught in their teeth, and it'll pull right out if it's not bent back over. It doesn't have to be perfect, but this stuff, it doesn't matter. It'll get covered up. So what I do next is I'm going to wet my feather, and then again measure up a little bit and tie that down just like this is how I start all my woolly buggers. You can see a link in the description for how I tie my woolly buggers, but this is how I start pretty much all of my buggers. I'm gonna tie this pretty far down so that it's nice and even along the whole shank. Finish that up, tie it in. You don't want to go all the way to the bead, or else that rabbit strip is going to get in the way a bit. But I go pretty far up to give it a nice even-bodied shank. And sometimes, like if you're planning on fishing this fly really deep, you might want to use a little bit of lead wire. Typically, for this fly, I'll use lead wire in a size 20 thousandths. So I would use this, but that's not how we're going to do this fly today, since I plan on fishing this in water that's maybe only 3 feet deep. So next you're going to take your woolly bugger chenille, and you're going to just tie that in nice and easy. Once that's tied in, we'll wrap forward, not all the way to the front, and then we're going to tie in our rabbit strip with the fibers facing backwards like this. We don't want it like that. We want it the other way around, so that when this fly is in the water, it'll streamline back nice and easy. So gonna tie that in a little bit back from the hook. we're going to try and keep that folded forward, because what we're going to do next, we're going to wrap this woolly bugger chenille. And what I really should do is I should use the rotary application on my vise to do this, but I don't have the tool to keep my bobbin still out of the box right now, because I don't use it all that much. So once you get to the rabbit strip, you're going to fold the rabbit strip back and then do one wrap with your woolly bugger chenille in front of the rabbit strip, and then you'll just tie that down. Tie the woolly bugger chenille down, nip it off, and then just tie the rest of it in so that you have a nice clean bottom of the hook here, so that chenille isn't poking out a ton. So now you're going to wrap this rabbit strip in the same direction that you're wrapping your thread, and as you go, pull the fibers of the rabbit strip back towards the back of the fly so that it all lays down nice and easy. Alright, so it only takes a couple of wraps, and what you want to do, you're going to want to wet your fingers and pull those fibers back a little bit so that you can take your thread and wrap it along the tag side of the rabbit strip so that you don't get any of these fibers that you want in your fly caught in the whip finish or in your Palomar loops to get that material cut in. So now we're gonna nip that off of there, and you see we got a little bit of the hide poking out here. So what we're gonna try to do is we're gonna try to pull this back and get your thread around that little piece of hide, and then use your fingernail and tuck it right up underneath the cone. That way you almost will never ever see that, and it hides your thread real nice too. So once that's done, I'm going to just whip finish here. It's a pretty simple, easy pattern to tie, and really the only difference between this and a woolly bugger is the fact that you don't use a saddle handle here. You're just using the rabbit strip at the front, and when this is in the water, it creates a nice little veil over the top of the fly, and a lot of times that chenille with the sparkle will poke on through. And you can get flies, you can use a black bead or a black cone or a black bead, you can use beads, but there you go, there's the woolly leech, and I like to fish these in brown, olive, and black, white sometimes, purple every once in a while if I'm feeling adventurous, but I like this brown with the bars. So hopefully you found this enjoyable, and hopefully this fly catches a lot of fish for it, because I know it does for me. So tight lines everyone, and I'll catch you later.